All right, the Utah Jazz have now won 8 straight. Tonight it was the Chicago Bulls who were in their way. This is the Hoopsner postgame show. Really nice win for the Utah Jazz. They find a way to beat this really nice Bulls team. That was a new look Bulls team. I was actually excited to see this Bulls team. It's the first time we get to see them as Jazz fans, at least, with Nikola Vucevic on the floor. And so it was a little bit, when you see the Bulls pre-trade, you're kind of like, probably a win for the Jazz. But with Vucevic, it changes everything. And I actually think they're really interesting. Tonight, Vucevic, and Bulls fans, let me know in the comments how he's looked on the Bulls since he's started. Tonight, he looks like he's still figuring things out. His shot just wasn't really falling for them. And I think the Bulls have some things they got to do to kind of figure out what they do with Vucevic on the floor. But there's some things to really like about this Bulls team. For one, you have a nice front court of Thaddeus Young and Nikola Vucevic, who gives you a stretch big in Vucevic and then a power guy in Thaddeus Young who is like just big time inside. And Thaddeus Young was a major reason that the Bulls were in this game and brought it close at the end. He was hitting bucket after bucket after bucket inside, and he was taking advantage of the Jazz's smaller size at the power forward position. And, it's an interesting look for the Bulls. It's too bad that their shooting hasn't come. I'm glad it didn't happen against the Jazz, I'll be honest. But at some point, that shooting is going to kind of come around, and you'll see that this Bulls team has some really nice weapons. You look at that starting lineup, though. Zach LaVine, who is an elite three-point shooter, he did not have a good three-point shooting night, only 2 for 8. Vucevic was 1 for 5 from 3. So you've got to give the Jazz credit for good defense, and some of that's just bad shooting for the Bulls. Vucevic hit that big 3 at the end, but it was just not a very good shooting night for the Bulls, and so you do have to give some credit to the Jazz. The thing that's interesting with this Bulls team is you have Vucevic who shoots the 3, LaVine who shoots the 3. Satoransky actually shoots that 3 as well. Patrick Williams, who I like, and I think he has a chance to be really, really impressive. I don't know exactly what his future is. It may be at the power forward spot if he's not going to spread the floor, but he was 0 for 0 from 3. He's just not shooting the 3. And let me know, Bulls fans, if how he's looking. I haven't even looked at his percentages, so maybe I'll look at that right now just to see. But they've got 2 to 3 3-point shooters at all times on the floor, and you compare that to the Jazz, who have 4 40+% 3-point shooters at all times on the floor, surrounding a nice rolling center. You can just kind of see how the Jazz just have an advantage the whole game. Even in a game where the Jazz did not play well, and I would say the Bulls played pretty well. I mean, Thaddeus Young was 11 for 17 from the field, 64%. He had 25 points and was a plus 11, and the Jazz won this in a game where it looked honestly relatively easy, and a lot of that comes down to the 3-point shot. Utah in this game shoots, as a team, 36% from 3, but the real difference is that they took 36 of them. They hit 13 threes. The Bulls only took 28 and hit 7. And so in a lot of ways, that's what it comes down to. Who's taking the most efficient shots and who's making them? MSO and Scotty Too Hottie, 199. Thank you, sir. Or sirs, because that's plural. But either way, thank you, Scotty Too Hottie and MSO. I appreciate it. 199. I really appreciate it. Robert Hall, favorite shot of the night was Rudy throw away going in and then looking at his hand. Yeah, that was Rudy is just Rudy just is not super smooth with it sometimes, but it still goes in. His touch is good enough. It doesn't look the same as he's not got the smooth touch as like a Kobe Bryant. That's for dang sure. Or, a Joel Embiid, or even like a Jokic, who looks kind of awkward to me at times, but his also just goes in every time, it seems like. Rudy just does not have smooth touch, but it's good enough touch that it goes in. So, it may be ugly, but it goes in, and that's all that matters. Anyway, so those are my thoughts on the Bulls. They're an interesting team. I think they're still figuring it out. I think really that trade for Vucevic is for next year, because you're just kind of figuring out your chemistry, and then next year you roll. You with LaVine, Vucevic, Patrick Williams, or is it Patrick Williams? Yeah, Patrick Williams, Thad Young, and everyone else you can. Could we get Thad Young? I wish, honestly. Who'd you rather have, Favors or Thad Young? Thad Young's looking so nice. He is a nice player. I don't know, but it is what it is. And I think actually, and that's like not giving enough credit to Favors. I think Favors sometimes suffers from the fact that he backs up Rudy Gobert. Like if you're a rock star group and you're going on you're playing after Metallica and you're like a pretty good rock band, but you get off after a huge light show from Metallica, you're gonna look a little not great, you know. So Favors kind of suffers from being behind Rudy Gobert because I think Favors is actually pretty solid lately. And you know there was like a time during 15 games or so ago, Favors was looking rough, but I think the last 10 or 15 since then have looked pretty solid. He's being like good enough. I don't think he was that great tonight, but there's been times where he's been really solid, makes enough good plays that I think he's fine. It's better than Tony Bradley. I'll tell you that. Is being better than Tony Bradley worth the contract he has? Probably not. But it's good enough, and if it helps you win the championship, then who cares? And I do think that the Jazz are contenders right now. So let's see. Now let's talk about the Jazz real quick. First off, though, MSO and Scotty Too Hottie 199 again. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. So hard being a Jazz fan in Houston. I bet. But you know what's really nice about being a Jazz fan in Houston? And I'll say this one underrated thing. Let's adjust the microphone here. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. If you're a Jazz fan outside of Utah, you can go get just the league pass for just the Jazz, and you don't have to have cable television. So you can go get League Pass, and League Pass works pretty nice. It's not the best running software and program in the world, but it works pretty nice. It works nice enough. Actually, I've noticed this season with my League Pass, I have League Pass, it works smooth, and you get the app, you get to watch it on your TV, and that's nice. If you're a Jazz fan in Utah, Idaho, you have to have cable television, and that kind of sucks. Like sometimes I wonder why I'm paying so much for cable to watch the occasional Walking Dead rerun on my DVR and Jazz games. So if you're in Houston, I get it. It's nice to be around the Jazz fans, but that's what the community's for. That's why you go to the Discord and join the Hoops Nerd Discord or Jazz Twitter. By the way, guys, in the community tab, go to the Jazz Discord. It's fun. It's a good, fun way to connect with Jazz fans if you live in Houston, like Scotty Too Hottie, But anyways, it's a bonus MSO and Scotty Too Hottie to be able to get that League Pass. Not that this is a League Pass commercial. If I had a link to sell League Pass, I'd put it right down there. But anyways, that is one bonus to being a Jazz fan outside of Utah. I will say that. Let's see. So for the Jazz, the major MVP of this game has to go. And there's, let's start about who we're talking about first. Is this man right here? We're not. Why are we doing that? Bojan Bogdanovic had a nice night. It was really nice. Bojan Bogdanovic tonight goes 8 for 15 from the field, only 1 for 4 from 3. But what's nice about that is Bogey has a nice game on the inside. He doesn't get the ball stolen. And what was nice about tonight, and I don't know how he's going to do this in the playoffs if they're playing against elite defenders. I want Bogey to just be shooting threes, honestly, and sidestepping into threes or passing it out into the blender that the Jazz call it. But tonight, when he had like Kobe White on him and other smaller defenders, he took the ball into the post and he scored on them. And that was a lot of what he was doing last year for the Jazz, where he could get you, 5 to 10 points off of isolation and things like that. And so it was nice to see Bogey kind of looking like old school Bogey. Last year he'd do a little bit of that, and he was shooting 8 to 10 3-pointers a game. Now, 1 for 4 from 3 is not my favorite from Bogey. I really want to see Bogey shooting 10 threes a game, because that's what Bojan Bogdanovic's elite skill is. And tonight it was 1 for 4. But you can't fault him too much because he was kind of using what the defense gave them and taking advantage. And the fact that the Jazz could throw the ball to Bojan Bogdanovic and he could take advantage is huge. It's massive. So that is just a really nice thing to see for Bojan Bogdanovic to just back down his defender, whether it's Kobe White, not get the ball stolen, get nice shots up and score for the Jazz. Honestly, the Jazz might not win this game if Bojan Bogdanovic doesn't have a nice night. So that is, a nice sign for the Jazz, and honestly, we've talked about Bojan lately. It looks like he's slowly picking up and gaining confidence. And if that's honestly the best news possible for the Utah Jazz, because if you can get Bojan Bogdanovic confident hitting shots, That's massive. And he's been passing the ball really well. Maybe it's like Cinderella Man. Remember how he broke his hand in that movie? By the way, if you haven't seen Cinderella Man, go rent that. Oh, there's like a weird floaty. What in the demons is that? But where he breaks his hand and then he comes back and he learns to punch with his left or something like that. Maybe Bojan is freaking Cinderella Man. Punch it like this. But he's doing it with jump shots. So maybe that's what, oh no, passing and assists. He's like, oh, I got to learn to assist the ball. Lord Reginald, welcome to Starter, my man. We got a rotation player up in here. Guess what, starters? I am uploading a behind-the-scenes video I've worked on for years that I ended up not making a video up. If you want to see it, you got to be a starter, and I'm posting it. It's for one of my 8-bit videos. By the way, I'm going to try to work on those a little bit more, and I'm thinking about doing those in the summer. Some of these 8-bit videos that I think are fun, that could be something for the channel that's unique and fun that I've done in the past. If you've been a long-time subscriber, you know what I'm talking about. Lee Christensen, thank you, sir. $10, Lee. I am so appreciative, Lee. Thank you, and I'm glad you made it home safely the other night when you went to the game. Hopefully you're going to other games and supporting our Jazz in the crowd. I know that you are probably one of our best cheerers in the crowd. But anyways, love the content, bro. Keep it up. Go Jazz. Thank you, Lee. I really appreciate it. You're the man. I honestly, guys, can I just say one thing for all you that have joined the channel? I really I get to know you in a way. It's kind of amazing that we have this community that's growing. It's amazing. And it's like people like Lee and Ryan and all you guys that are joining the channel. Jorge Arizaga with 50 Mexican pesos. Gracias, amigo. I mean, we have amigos in Mexico and, you know, in other countries and stuff. It's amazing. You guys are amazing. I honestly am so appreciative of you guys. Gracias, Jorge. Count 3 more fans in Mexico. MXMX. Well, that's amazing. 3 more fans in Mexico. We'll take them. The more fans, the better. Because guess what? We're building votes for All-Star votes. Guess what? Maybe we can do it as a Hoops Nerd channel and eventually get Jazz fans or Jazz players enough votes just by our sheer power of YouTube. Let's see if we can do it. Probably not, but we'll try. Mark J, welcome to Rookie. Welcome to the team. We got a man with potential in Mark J, a rookie with upside. Thank you, Mark J, for joining the channel. The 8-bit vids are lit. Furby Jr. I'm trying. They're fun. They are time-consuming. And I have one that I've worked on, and I'm going to send it to you guys. All-Stars and Starters, you get to see that intro. I actually think it's pretty... I mean, I'm probably too old to say this, but I think it's dope. And so I'm going to send that to you. I got to export it. I might do that tomorrow, actually. So look for that, starters. I really appreciate the starters. I'm trying to find a way to make starters more fun for you guys, as well as, you know, all-stars. I feel like all-stars have a nice thing going. I want to make it a little more nice for starters. And guess what? When I make it nicer for starters, it gets nicer for all-stars even. So anyways, I'm going to try to do that. But thank you. And Mark J, welcome. Welcome, welcome. And another welcome again to Lord Reginald. We have a Lord in our midst. Thank you, Lord Reginald. Anyways, so Bojan Bogdanovic, nice to see Bojan playing nice. If we can keep him getting confidence, and really if he can just get to that shooting that he was at last year, that's amazing. The other person you have to talk about, and we'll talk about Donovan in a second, Rudy Gobert is just a dominant force in the NBA. I talked about, the reason I started a little later tonight was I was writing the recap for SLC Dunk. Go to slcdunk.com. You can read what I wrote there, but this is a little bit of what I said, is that Rudy Gobert is a dominant player in the NBA, just like a LeBron James, just like a Steph Curry. It's just in a different way. So when you look at players like Damian Lillard and Steph Curry, they are just incredible shooters, offensive bucket getters that just find ways to score in incredible ways, whether from 3, long range, and they just impact the game in an incredible way from beyond the arc and their ability to shoot the ball. You have LeBron James, who is arguably the 2nd greatest player of all time, and you've got players like Kawhi Leonard who have just such incredible skill, physical prowess, and dominance and athleticism. LeBron James is the best player in the league, obviously, and they just dominate the game in that way. They're just LeBron James' skill level's out of this world. His, you know, everything he does is unreal. Rudy Gobert is a top 10 player in the NBA. He's not better than LeBron. He's not, you know, but guess what? He's a top 10 player in the NBA because he impacts the game just like they do. Rudy Gobert has the most length in the NBA. He does. He's the longest player in the NBA. He uses his length better than anyone else in the NBA uses their length. Imagine that. You have a guy who got the biggest wingspan. He's the tallest standing reach. and he uses it better than anyone in the league. There is not a single inch of Rudy Gobert that is not used efficiently when he's on the defensive end or on the offensive end. He uses it to the max, and that's because he has just an incredible athleticism, which is underrated with how he moves, and quickness. Rudy Gobert's quickness is insane. His physical talent to be able to double jump, that's the thing you got to look at. When you guys are watching draft videos and when you're looking at someone in the draft, look at that second jump for big men. Because that is the move, that is the ability that shows you this guy is going to be dominant in the NBA. And Rudy's second jump is out of this world. Let's say Rudy goes for the pump fake, and he rarely does at this point because he is so disciplined. But when he does, he is able to go on his second jump and block most shots. It's that second jump. His quickness is out of this world. His ability at 7'1" with the 7'9" wingspan and his just sheer size and width and length and size and his ability to go out on the perimeter, slide his feet when that guy drives and block the shot at the rim like we've seen him do countless times is unreal. It's unreal. Anyone who tells you that Rudy Gobert is not the defensive player of the year is an idiot. They are just a dumb idiot. And the fact that you have nationals that still say things like Ben Simmons, like the fact that you're even mentioning Ben Simmons in the same breath as Rudy Gobert is so disrespectful. It is so disrespectful to what Rudy Gobert is as a defensive player in the league. He is the best defensive player we've seen since Dikembe Mutombo, and it's not close. It's not close. You can look at the numbers. Ben Wallace, Dikembe Mutombo, Rudy Gobert, Bill Russell, Hakeem Olajuwon. And now I'm sounding like Michael Scott, adding on players. But those are like, that's the Mount Rushmore, all right? If we're getting 5 guys up there, Bill Russell, Hakeem Olajuwon, Ben Wallace, who did I miss? Oh, Dikembe Mutombo, and guess what? Rudy freaking Gobert. That's the hand. No one else gets in that hand, and you're not close. We're comparing a Hall of Fame defender to a guy who defends on the perimeter well. Congratulations. You can't do anything else, so the media is trying to make up for the fact that Ben Simmons can't shoot a basketball and doesn't affect the game in any other way but the defensive end. So they're trying to make up for it. And guess what? Rudy Gobert dominates by guarding every single player on the floor. Every single game, he is guarding everyone on the floor. Why? Because he is shutting off a third of the court. A third of the court. You can't go in and score on him, all right? You just can't. We saw it last time the Bulls played. Guess what? The last time the Bulls played the Jazz, in their first thing, they decided that they were going to attack Rudy Gobert every single play at the rim. And guess what happened? He almost had a triple-double with blocks, and he should have got a triple-double with blocks because he blocked the ball into the hoop on the last play on Markkanen. He is the best defensive player in the NBA. It is over. It is not a question. Anyone saying otherwise is wrong. Is wrong. You're wrong. He is the most dominant defensive player in the league. It's not close. It's not a question. Anyone who says otherwise, stop listening to that person. They are ill-informed and they are bad at basketball talk. All right? They are just bad at it, and they don't pay enough attention. If you have the gall to say Ben Simmons anything next to Rudy Gobert in terms of defense, you are telling on yourself. All right? The end. The end. He shuts off everyone, and he also guards the perimeter. Rudy Gobert is now regularly blocking jump shooters. So he is like evolving before our eyes even in this season. He got his supermax contract, and he's playing better. What does that tell you about his mindset? This guy is incredible. He has got the mindset of LeBron, of Jordan, of all the incredible competitive guys that do everything they can to win and beat the other team. He's just in another way. But he's got that same mindset where he is an insane person trying to win the game. And he does it every single game, and he will never get the credit nationally, but for Jazz fans who actually watch him on a game-to-game basis, you see it. Never, 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 never stop appreciating Rudy Gobert, guys. Never. Just don't do it. He is so valuable. Players like this just don't come along very often. They just don't. And the fact that he is efficient on the offensive end, he scores, 60+% from the free throw line because he's getting fouled consistently, which makes him an incredibly efficient offensive player. His rolls to the rim draw so much gravity, and that you saw it tonight multiple times where Rudy Gobert gets the ball in the roll, passes it out to an open three-point shooter. It has been something that has added 3 to 6 points to the Jazz every game, point-wise. Rudy Gobert, he has been just so good this year. It's hard to describe just how good Rudy Gobert has been. He just does not get the credit, and it's disappointing, but who cares? Us Jazz fans and Jazz fans right here, we all know. Who cares what they think? Guess what? When Rudy Gobert does in the playoffs what he's been doing in the regular season, no Jazz fan will be surprised. Are any of you guys in the chat going to be surprised if Rudy Gobert is the defensive player of the playoffs or whatever you want to call it and just dominates like he's been doing all season? Guess what? The Utah Jazz have an incredibly good chance to win the finals this year. Why? Because Rudy Gobert keeps them in every single game. Like we said earlier, and I'm losing my mind tonight. I didn't expect this. But Rudy Gobert kept them in this game. They did not play well. But Rudy Gobert never let that lead get to more than like 3 or 5 for the Bulls. He just didn't. Furby, Audrey, I went on a 3.5 mile walk today with Audrey. She's tired. She's upstairs sleeping. We're going to let her sleep. Finally, Donovan Mitchell. One thing I want to make. So Donovan Mitchell did not have his best shooting night. He did hit big buckets, which is something that you've got to give credit to Donovan Mitchell for he just seems to turn it on when he needs to. It's kind of incredible. End of games, big shots. He hits a lot of them. DW to CB. You're throwing me off, my man. James Harden for DPOI. I think you're joking. But I saw that out of the corner of my eye, and it threw me off. But anyways, Donovan hit some big buckets, but tonight overall his shooting was not very good. 7 for 21 from the field, 33%, and 2 for 9 from 3. Not great. But you know why Donovan Mitchell had a really nice night shooting the ball tonight? Well, not shooting the ball. You know why he had a nice offensive night? Donovan Mitchell got to the line 10 times tonight. He was 10 for 10 from the free throw line. So what happens is that he has an efficient night because of his ability to get to the line. And I think we talked about this a lot last year, actually. But if Donovan Mitchell, on a night like tonight, can get to the line 10 times and shoot 10 for 10 from the free throw line, it means that even though he shot, 33% from the field on 21 field goal attempts, he still scored 26 points on those 21 field goal attempts. So when Donovan Mitchell scores an efficient night and he's getting to the line at that level, that's when he's going like MVP level, like thermonuclear. And I don't know what thermonuclear means. It just sounds like something that explodes with nuclear things and makes someone a superhero. That's what I imagine in my head. DW to CB, April 2 Fools. Thank you. I'm guessing that's what it was. But yeah, so that's what is so exciting about Donovan Mitchell. If Donovan Mitchell can consistently get to the free throw line like he's doing, and I know it takes a physical toll on him, Donovan Mitchell probably has the physical strength to keep that up, though. I mean, Donovan Mitchell is like between 250 and 225, I believe, at 6'1". Donovan's at an actual, Donovan's a truck, bro. Donovan will blow you down. That guy is strong, and he's got size. He's built like an NFL running back, or arguably like a small linebacker. He is built, and he will truck you. And so, that ability for him to go 10 for 10 from the free throw line, and hopefully he can keep that up. The physical wear and tear of going to the line like that is the reason why people need to appreciate. We mentioned James Harden. One of the reasons why people need to appreciate Harden a little bit is just the physical toll of going to the free throw line, of banging bodies every single night. It's a physical toll. And Donovan Mitchell, if he can keep that up and keep going to the line, 6 to 10 free throw attempts per game. We talked about this before. If he's going 6 to 7 times to the line, that's like your standard. I think that's Kawhi level. I think LeBron's probably more. But if you're going 6-7 times to the line, that's good. If he can average 6-7 free throw attempts per game around there, great. I mean, that's where you need to be, and that's where you're going to get that efficiency. So on nights like tonight, where his shooting is not quite there, the efficiency is still there because of the free throw shooting. And on nights where the shooting is really there, you're blowing teams out, basically. You know? So, guys, let's see. I didn't get a lot of chance. Hey, Hoopsner, tell me how you really feel about Rudy. That was my Rudy rant. That was my Rudy rant, Robert. That was my Rudy rant. And I hope we're all paying attention because he's been incredible. And Donovan Mitchell hitting shots. This Jazz team is really ready to go to the playoffs. I really, honestly, I'm ready to just see them go into the playoffs and dominate. I really, really do. Because seeing the comments online is so frustrating with people who say, oh, first round exit. Have you watched the Jazz? The Jazz are not losing in the first round. And, maybe I'll eat my words, but they are just so good that I just have a hard time seeing that, especially if they're the number 1 seed and they're playing like the Grizzlies in the first round. I mean, that's the reason why the first seed is so good, It's because of what you're able to do, and the matchup will be nice. Now, if the Lakers somehow keep losing games and you play the Lakers in the first round, that sucks. Let's hope that doesn't happen. But I still think the Jazz can beat the Lakers, That'd be kind of awesome to beat the Lakers in the first round, right? That would be pretty cool. Anyways, guys, like and subscribe to the channel. You can do it right there, and join the channel to join chat. And guess what? It's time to thank our All-Stars. If you join the channel and become an All-Star, you're a part of the show. Tonight, thank you, Mitt Roebuck, DW to CB, Darren Williams to Carlos Boozer. My throat's getting a little dry. I'm yelling. Jorge Arizaga, gracias amigo. Lee Christensen, thank you again tonight for that donation, Lee. I really appreciate it. Shan Therick, Ryan Perry, the legend. Justin Ty H, Patrick Akubo, Robert Hall, who, you know what? We're buddies on Twitter. I don't know if I follow you, but I'm going to follow you tonight. DW, Jazz going all the way, and David Lee, the first of them all. Guys, that's all I got tonight. I really appreciate it. I'm going to try to get that video up tomorrow for starters and all-stars. It's pretty fun. It's just an intro that I worked on and did animation for. I do a little bit of animation in 8-bit. It's pretty cool. You'll have to see. And I'm going to try doing some more. I've got an idea for the 8-bits, and I think I might actually do a video just talking about it with starters and all-stars just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about. But anyways, like and subscribe, join the channel.